my name is Cameron Sands. I'm an actress and a filmmaker, and today in this video I want to share with you guys the most embarrassing and most memorable audition story. Whew. So when I was younger and I had first started getting into acting, I was maybe 7, 8, 9. I honestly do not remember how old I was at the time, but I got an audition for Safe Haven, a movie based on a book written by Nicholas Sparks, and it was shot in Southport, North Carolina. At the time, I had an agent, and it was my first agent ever. I didn't have any prior experience, and it was my first time getting into the business. So, through this agent, I got this audition, which was amazing. I go to this in-person audition, and my dad takes me, and for some reason, I did not learn my lines at all. I don't even know if I had a script until I got into the room. Maybe it was a cold reading, or maybe I should have been off book. I really don't remember. This story is such a blur to me now, but the biggest thing I remember is walking into a lobby of a hotel room, and my dad and I sit on this couch in the lobby, and we're waiting for me to be called in. And I look around and I see all of these little girls who have bright blonde hair. They're very short and they look very, very young. And at the time, even though I looked and sounded very young for my age, I was still much taller than all of the other girls, and I knew at the time that I was much obviously older than all of these girls as well. When I finally get called into the room, I'm so nervous. It was my first time ever walking into a room to audition in person, but because of acting classes, I felt prepared. I felt like I knew what I was doing. But when I walked in, I feel like I just completely froze, and I didn't know what to say. I guess I introduced myself to the casting directors. I don't know who was in that room. I don't even know if Nicholas Sparks was in there. I think I would probably remember if he was in there. But when I go into the room, I didn't know anything. They started the audition, and I just stared at them because I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what I was supposed to say. I didn't even know what I was auditioning for. Maybe I said, "Hi, my name's Cameron. I'm auditioning for the role of Lily," or whatever her name was. I don't know. And that's really it. And I walked out of the room embarrassed. So this was my first in-person audition ever that I remember. And I just look back and I felt so insecure and so fearful being in that room with all of these other girls who looked kind of like me. I mean, we were all little blonde girls, but they were all so much younger than me, and I just knew in that moment, I felt this pit in my stomach that I wouldn't be cast. Why would they call me in if I was so much older than all of these other girls? And when I finally went into the room to do my in-person audition, I was so intimidated, filled with so much anxiety, and I wish I could remember if I had the script or if it was a cold reading or if I was supposed to have my lines memorized, but I just know that it was incredibly embarrassing, and I felt so ashamed, and I felt like I had completely screwed up, and I was just completely regretful immediately after. I mean, I was just a kid. I was in elementary school, but I knew I messed up. I knew I walked in, I wasn't prepared. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't make myself look good. It wasn't professional. Even though I was a kid, I walked in and I did not live up to like the expectations, I guess, if that makes sense. So it was cool that I auditioned, kinda, for Safe Haven, and that's very memorable for me. It was very cool, and it was fun going with my dad, but in that moment in the lobby waiting for my turn to audition, I just knew it was just so uncomfortable. And then being in that audition room with the casting directors, I hated every second of it. I just felt like I had screwed up. I don't know. And then I know in the car ride after with my dad, I was so frustrated because I was like, why would my agent send me for an audition where I'm not even in the castability age-wise? Like, I'm not in the age range. But looking back, I probably did look and sound the right age, but I was too tall. I was the tallest girl in the room, and at that time I was a very young, short girl.
I wanted to pop on here
add that this movie was filmed in 2013. I don't know where I got that I was like 7, but this goes to show how tall and how old I looked, because if they filmed in 2013, I'm pretty sure they were casting kind of near the end of 2012 or something, so I was probably 12, and the girl who was cast, her name is Mimi Kirkland, and she played the role of Lexi. So I auditioned for the role of Lexi, and she, at the time of filming, was only 8 years old, and the character in the show, in the movie, I mean, she's 7 or 8, like she looks 6 or 7, so that goes to show you that I was 4 years older. Wait, she was like 7 or 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I was at least 4 years older than this girl. I did look that young. I mean, we kind of resembled each other with the curly hair. She was so freaking adorable and cute, and she, I'm so grateful that she booked this role. This role was not for me. What's meant for me will not pass me, even 12 years ago. But, yay. Okay, this is Mimi Kirkland. This is the girl who booked the role of Lexi. And she looked like a baby. And here's me, what I looked like at that time, approximately. If that gives you any comparison. Why, after that horrible first impression of being in the room and auditioning in person, do I still want to act, and why I'm still acting to this day? I'm not really quite sure, because that moment could have completely made me turn away forever. But because I enjoyed the part, like, it made me feel like I was a part of something bigger, and I played a crucial role in allowing the casting directors to know, okay, this girl isn't right for the part. And so I feel like I helped in that. And I also love acting. I still love acting. I have fallen in love with the craft and the passion and the fun and excitement and adrenaline rush of learning lines, being in front of the camera, and performing a scene. That is something that I love. But the audition process can be daunting. I feel like I've gotten the hang of it now. If you're super prepared and you just remain open-minded to whatever your body, like if you surrender to what your body allows to happen for the audition process, and you take the notes of the casting director, then auditioning, I mean, it can always be scary, but for me, it's not so scary anymore. I know why I walked in that room and I had such a difficult time, and as an adult now, if I walk into, I mean, we don't really audition in person very much anymore. It's mainly all self-tapes, but if I were to walk into the room today, I would feel confident, because I know if all the girls around me look different, or if there are guys, or if there, I mean, so many different people can audition for the same role today, and I know that our differences are so valuable, and that's what makes auditioning special, because you could be so different, or you could all look the same, but what you bring to the role is all so different. And I think that's very beautiful. But what made this process so exciting overall is that this movie was still filmed in the town that I was living at the time. And in between filming days, my dad and I would go downtown, and there was one scene where they would, well, not in between filming days, during the filming days. So during the filming days, my dad and I would go downtown, and he would talk to the PAs on set, the productions assistants, and they were filming this fireworks scene for, I want to say, a whole week. It may not have been that long, but as a kid, it felt like a week. We would go downtown at night, and they were filming these fireworks over and over again. So we would go downtown and we would watch the fireworks, and we would talk to the crew on set, and that was really fun for me, because we weren't even extras, and we weren't even part of the crew. We weren't actors or anything, and I was just a little kid. I was just following my dad around, but my brother was there at one point too, and it was really fun watching the fireworks for a movie. Like, they were doing fireworks over and over again, and it was for the movie, and that was really fun and memorable. And now whenever we go downtown and we look in the restaurants that they were filmed at, we can see the call sheet and the sides, and There are pictures of the actors in the restaurants all throughout Southport, and the town loves that Safe Haven was filmed there, which is pretty cool. And it was very memorable overall. It was very influential in my acting journey, I guess, because even though it was such it felt like a horrible experience, overall it was a very fun and memorable experience, because even though I walked into that room and I was a ball of anxiety, uncomfortable, and I was so insecure and I lacked all confidence whatsoever, it was still fun going and doing an audition in person, which we don't even really do those anymore. And I got to go in the room. I get to say I auditioned for Safe Haven, even though I didn't book the role, and even though it was kind of an unfortunate circumstance of just me being a little anxious kid, it was still very memorable, and it was very fun going on set and watching everything being filmed. And it's really cool to look back on and say that was my first in-person audition story, I guess. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching and listening. If you want to hear more filmmaking and acting stories, please comment down below. And if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe. And if you have any memorable audition stories, I'd love to hear them. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good day.